Hello children. Today we are going to start a new lesson, new kings and kingdoms. Okay. See, many new dynasties emerged after the 7th century. Map 1 shows the major ruling dynasties in different parts of the subcontinent between the 7th and 12th centuries. Okay, see, we are going to know about the new kings and the kingdoms. Okay, see, here they gave a map of India at the time what in the times of 700 to 1100 CE. See, at that time major dynasties of northern, central and eastern India. Okay, see, dynasty is nothing but whoever the kings were ruling the same place as from the same family some many years, right? Those we are calling like in a dynasty. Understood? See here the emergence of new dynasties. Okay, you might have known about the emergence of kings and kingdoms in your previous class. Yes or no? See, by the 7th century, there were many influential landlords or warriors, chiefs in different regions of the subcontinent. Existing kings often acknowledged them as their subordinates or samantas. They were expected to bring gifts for their kings or overlords, be present at their courts and provide them with military support. Here at the time of 7th century, okay, there were many influential landlords and warriors, okay, in different regions, subcontinents. Okay, see, whoever the kings already existed kings, okay, they treated remaining other kings as subordinates or their samantas. Okay, see, and they were expected to bring gifts for their kings. Samantas, okay, samantas or subordinates have to bring the gifts to the king. Okay, and instead of that, king will offer the military support to the samantas, and samantas has to sit the court of the king, and they have to be support in the ruling sectors. Okay, as samantas gained power and wealth, samantas also they gain power into their place and they got wealth also. They declared themselves to be Mahasamanta or Mahamandaleshwara. Mahamandaleshwara is nothing but the great lord of a circle or region. Okay, see, when these samantas got the support from the king, right? So they felt like that they are themselves, they declared like a Maha Samanta, not Samantha. It's not a heroine. Okay, don't you think in that way. Samanta, subordinates of the king. At that time the term they called as Samanta. Okay. Sometimes they asserted their independence from their overlords. See, one such instance was that the Rashtratukas in Deccan. Deccan means south side. Initially, they were subordinate to the Chalukyas of Karnataka. Okay, they gave one situation. Okay, it is in Karnataka. In the mid-8th century, okay, Danti Durga, a Rashtratuka chief, defeated his Chalukya overlord and performed a ritual called Hiranyagarbha. Okay, literally the golden womb. It was thought to lead the rebirth of the sacrificer as Kshatriya, even if he was not a Kshatriya by birth. Here, nothing but in the Chalukyas of Karnataka times, okay, in the mid-8th century times, Danti Durga, a Rashtratuka chief, he defeated the Chalukya, okay, and he performed rituals called Hiranyagarbha. Okay, see, when he defeated the Chalukya overlord, okay, and he thought that the performance as Hiranyagarbha. Okay, and of course he is not a kshatriya by birth, but he thought to lead the rebirth of the sacrificer as a kshatriya. Understood? Here you can see one figure 11.1 wall relief from cave. Okay, it is a wall relief in the cave, where at which place? Ellora. Okay, in the Ellora caves, it is in a wall relief. What it is showing? It is showing Vishnu as Narasimha, the man lion. It is a work of the Rashtratuka period. Okay, Vishnu is the Lord. Okay, Vishnu as a Narasimha. Narasimha is nothing but man lion. Okay, the face is like lion. Okay, you might have seen in so many photographs of the goddess, right? So this is in which period? Rashtratuka periods. Okay. See, in other cases, men from enterprising families used their military skills to carve out kingdoms. For instance, the Kadamba, Maurya Sharman and Gurjara and Pratihara Harichandra were Brahmins who gave up their traditional professions and took to arms, successfully establishing kingdoms in Karnataka and Rajasthan respectively. Okay, see, that is Dantidurga is one case, and another case here, the Kadamba Maurya Sharman, okay, and Gurjara Pratihara Harichandra. Okay, they are all Brahmins, but they gave up their tradition professionals, and they took out the arms and they started establishing their new kingdoms in Karnataka. Okay, and in the Rajasthan also. Gurjara in Rajasthan, Maurya Sharma in Karnataka. Understood? Next, Prashastis and land grants. See, the invocation part of an inscription is Prashasti. Prashastis contain details about the ruling family, such as their preceders and the period to which they belonged. Okay, here Prashastis means nothing but here it's an inscriptions. Okay, Prashastis contains details about ruling family. See, as we know that from of the history stories, Rama is the son of the Dasharatha, and there belongs to Ikshvaku family. We know, right? Like this. So here also Prashastis contains the details about the ruling family. So in stories we know that some of the family information, right? That is also we came to know from some inscriptions, right? Here also Prashasti is nothing but it have a information and details about the ruling family and their preceders and how much period they have belonged to rule. Okay, they also contain economy of rulers and their achievements, but they tell us about how rulers wanted to depict themselves. For example, violent, victorious warriors. Okay, these were composed by learned Brahmins who occasionally helped in the administration. These Prashastis who were written then? Learned Brahmins. They were written about the preceders of the rulers. Okay, and whatever they wanted to for example, violent and victorious warriors, right? That all. And even sometimes they composed some of the songs also. Okay, they composed by learning Brahmins who occasionally helped in administrations. Even in some of olden movies, if you see some of the Brahmins, okay, they will help in they will sit in the courts of the kings and they'll help to the king in the form of administrations, or else if they will not follow any of the dharma, or else in the punishments. Okay, in these kind of all situations, the Brahmins will help to the kings. Okay, kings often rewarded Brahmins and others who served them by grants of land. These were recorded on copper plates, which were given to those who received the land. So, in the administration's place, in the administrations, or else writing about their rulers and their preceders, right? See, Brahmins will write that information, okay, and they'll compose some of the poems and all. Instead of that, kings kings are rewarding the Brahmins in the form of grant of lands, okay, and that is also to whom they gave, how much the land gave, that all also recorded on the copper plates, okay, on the copper plates. In the 12th century, a long Sanskrit poem containing the history of kings who ruled over Kashmir. Okay. In the 12th century, a long Sanskrit poem containing the history of kings who ruled over Kashmir was composed by an author named Kalhana. Okay, here Kalhana, one of the Brahmin here, he wrote a poem in the Sanskrit language. What does it? It is a history of the kings. Okay, it is a history of kings. Okay, who ruled over Kashmir. Kashmir Kings History, written by whom? Kalhana. Kashmir Kings History, written by whom? Kalhana. Okay, in which century? 12th century. Okay, in which language? Sanskrit language. He used a variety of sources, including inscriptions, documents, eyewitness accounts, and earlier histories to write his account. Okay, he used many of sources. Even includes eyewitness also, and inscriptions and documents also. Okay, and unlike the writers of Praxeas, he was often critical about the rulers and their policies. Okay. Here, they gave some information in the boxes. The achievements of Nagbata, okay, Nagabata. Many rulers described their achievements in Prashastis. Okay, one Prashasti written in Sanskrit and found in Gwalior, where it is Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh, describes the exploits of Nagbata, a Pratihara king. Okay, Nagabata, a Pratihara king, as follows. The kings of Andhra, Saindava, means Sindh, okay, Siddh, and Vidarbha, part of Maharashtra, and Kalinga, it's part of Odisha, fell before him even as a prince. He won a war over Chakrayuddha, okay, the ruler of Kanos. He defeated the king of Vanga, part of Bengal, and Anata, part of Gujarat, Malwa, part of Madhya Pradesh, Kairata, forest peoples, Turuksa, Turks, Vatsa, Matsya, both kingdoms in North India. Here it is in a Prahastis. Okay, Prahastis written what you know, the kings rule, the kings how many years they ruled, and as well as to whom he defeated. Okay, that all information will write in Prahastis, right? So here also one Prahastis is here. Okay, it is written in Sanskrit language. Okay, that is where it is found in Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh. See, okay, so among these all kingdoms he won. Okay, what are those? Kings of Andhra, Saindava, Vidarbha, and Kalinga. Okay, even, even as a prince also, and Chakrayuddha, he won. He won over the Chakrayuddha. Okay, and he defeated some of the kings, Vanga, Anartha, Malwa, Kirata, okay, and Turuksa, Vatsa, Matsya. Okay, so it is about achievements of Nagabhata. Here, Nagabhata is nothing but Pratihara king. Okay, a Pratihara king, another name is Nagabhata. The achievements of Nagabhata is nothing but one of the king, Pratihara king, his name is, another name is Nagabhata. Whatever he achieved, okay, that all written here. This is called what? Prahastis. Understood? Prahastis. Here another box information also is here. Okay, just now I told you that Brahmins will get rewarded from the kings in the form of the land. Yes or no? Here, what was given with the land? This is a part of the Tamil section of a land grant given by the Cholas. Okay, Cholas kings given the land to the Brahmins, right? So that is a story they have given here. Okay, it is in a Tamil section. Okay, we have demarcated the boundaries of the land by making earthen embankment as well as planting thorny bushes. This is what the land contains: fruit bearing trees, water, land, gardens and orchard, trees, wells, open space, pasture land, a village, anthills, platforms, canals, ditches, rivers, silt laden land, tanks, granaries, fish ponds, beehives and deep lakes. Okay. He who receives the land can collect taxes from it. He can collect the taxes imposed by judicial officers as fines, and the tax on betel leaves, okay, betel leaves, woven cloth or vehicles, etc. Okay, see, he can build a large rooms with upper stories made of baked bricks. He can get large and small wells dug. He can plant trees and thorny bushes. Okay, thorny bushes. If necessary, he can also get canals constructed for irrigation. He should ensure that water is not wasted and that embankments are built. See here, whatever the land given to the Brahmins and all, right, it may be any of the land. Okay, see, this is what the land contains: fruit bearing trees, water, gardens, orchards, trees, it may be any of that. Okay, and whatever that land, whoever he got, Brahmins are also, right, they can build his rooms also, okay, with the baked bricks. Okay, and he can get large and small wells also. Okay, and he can plant trees. Okay, he can go for get canals also can constructed, but this person should not waste the water. Okay, here you came to know here administration in the kingdoms. Many of these new kings adopted high sounding titles such as Maharaja, Adhiraja, Great King, Overlord of Kings, okay, Tribhuvana, Chakravarti, Lord of Three Worlds, and so on. Okay, many of the kings had adopted some of high sounding titles. So here Maharaja, Adhiraja, like that. You might have seen some of old historical movies also. When the king is passing or coming, okay, people are praising like Adhiraja, Maharaja is coming, like that. Yes or no? Okay. However, in spite of such claims, they often shared power with their Samantas as well as with the associations of peasants, traders and Brahmins. Okay, in spite of such claims, they often shared the power. Okay, kings, so they will share the power to the Samantas and association of peasants. Peasants means here farmers. Okay, and traders and Brahmins. Okay, in each of these kingdoms, resources were obtained from producers, that is peasants, cattle keepers, artisans and traders were made to surrender a part of what they produced and sold. See, wherever the producer will be whom? Mostly the peasants. Peasants means, as I told you, who? Farmers. And they will get the obtained producers from even cattle keepers, okay, cattle rearers, okay, and artisans and traders. Traders means nothing but who will do the performances like buying and selling, right? Those we are calling as traders, okay, were made surrendered a part of what they produced and sold, okay, whatever they sold, no, from that some of the part they will offer to the kings, okay, to the kingdoms. Sometimes these were claimed as rent due to a lord who asserted that he owned the land. Revenue was also collected from traders. See, these were claimed as rent. Whatever they are giving, no, producers, whatever they are getting earning from that, some of the amount they are giving to the kingdoms, that is they claimed as rent. And even from the traders also they are collecting the revenue, okay. These resources were used to finance the king's establishment as well as for the construction of temples and forts. They were also used to fight wars, which were in turn expected to lead the acquisition of wealth in the form of tribute and access to land as well as trade routes. See, peasants, cattle keepers, artisans, traders, everybody are giving something to the kingdoms, right? So whatever the resource, the finance means money, whatever they collected from them, so the kings, how they are using? See, that finance means that amount they will use for constructing of temples or constructing of forts, okay, as well as they will use for fight wars, okay. Understood? See, the functionaries for collecting revenue were generally recruited from ruling families, okay, and positions were often hereditary. Here, functionaries for collecting revenues. See, collecting revenue function is generally recruited from ruling families. From the ruling families only, one of the person will be collect all the revenues. Understood? And positions were often hereditary. Hereditary nothing but from that same family, okay, which is a process from even the name, even the wealth, even everything which is passes from the grandparents to parents, parents to the children, which is passes, no, that we are calling as hereditary. Understood? This was true about the army as well. In many cases, close relatives of the king held these positions. Understood? See, army leader, army chief also, they are selecting from the family or else close relatives of the family, okay. See, our next topic is warfare for wealth. Wealth means here money, okay, capital. You may have noticed that each of these ruling dynasties was based in a specific region. At the same time, they tried to control other areas. One particularly prized areas was the city of Kanauji in the Ganga Valley. For centuries, rulers belonging to the Gurjara Pratihara, Rashtrakuta and Pala dynasties fought for control over the Kanauji. As there were three parties in this long-drawn conflict, historians often describe it as the tripartite struggle. See, tripartite struggle. Okay. See, many of them trying defeating to the Kanos. Okay, it is in Ganga Valley. Okay, many years onwards they are trying, right? So it is called as tripartite struggle. Okay. See, Next is topic about Muhammad Ghazni and Chahmanas. Okay, another name we are calling as Chauhans also. Okay, see here we came to know about the Muhammad Ghazni. Don't you think that Ghazni means you might have seen the movie That Ghazni? Okay, this is historical Ghazni. Okay, see, one of the rulers, Sultan Muhammad Ghazni, Afghanistan. From which country? Afghanistan. Ruled from, see here now I am calling Afghanistan another country. Okay, now I am calling it is another country. Okay, see, Muhammad Ghazni belongs to Afghanistan, ruled from 997 Common Era CE or 1030 CE and extended control over parts of Central Asia, Iran and northwestern part of the subcontinent. Okay, Muhammad Ghazni extended control over part of the Central Asia and Iran and northwest west part. Okay, he raided northern India many times and plundered and destroyed wealthy temples, including that of Somnath in Gujarat. Okay, Muhammad Ghazni destroyed the wealthy temples. In that one is Somnath temple in Gujarat. Much of the wealth that Muhammad looted was used to build the capital city at Ghazni. See, like that destroyings and gaining of control over of another places. Okay, he got so much wealth. So in that much of the wealth, the Muhammad, whatever he looted, it is used to build the capital city. At which place? Ghazni place. Okay, city at Ghazni. Sultan Muhammad was also interested in finding out more about people he conquered and entrusted a scholar named Ibn Biruni to write an account of the subcontinent. This Arabic work known as Kitab al-Hind, okay, Kitab al-Hind, is an important source of historians. Okay, Ibn Biruni consulted Sanskrit scholars to prepare this account. Okay, and about Chauhans also we'll came to know. We'll let you know. Okay, Chahmanas or Chauhans, later known as Chauhans, ruled over the region around Delhi and Ajmer. Chauhanas, where they ruled? In Delhi and Ajmer. They attempted to expand their control to west and east, where they were opposed by Chalukyas of Gujarat and Gahdalwas of western UP, Uttar Pradesh. Okay, the best known Chahmana ruler was Prithvi Raja III. Okay, Prithvi Raja III in the year of 1168 CE to 1192 CE. Okay, who defeated an Afghan ruler named Sultan Muhammad Ghori. Okay, not Ghazni. Okay, he defeated Afghan ruler. Who is that ruler? Sultan Muhammad Ghori in the year of 1191 CE, but lost to him the very next year in 1192 CE. This is about Chahmanas. Okay, I'll continue the lesson in the next class.